God. Okay, it says there's one person watching, but that's probably me. Okay, audio's good. Alright. I guess do we start? I've never streamed before, so this is very new. I'll try to knock off as many ads as possible. Um but yeah, I don't have like a two screen monitor or anything, so I'm probably gonna have to um get my own second screen up, um which is, whatever. Oh, look, trying to give me ads all the time. Okay, no viewers now, so it was probably not me. Um, yeah, it's gonna constantly give me ads. I honestly don't care at this point. Um, I guess I'll get started even if there isn't anybody in here. So that should be okay to do. Um, Okay, so let's start with some of the worst rides. So then, obviously, anyone who comes in later on. Oh, thank you, Chloe, for the Happy New Year. That's very nice. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, this is my first thing of the year. That's very exciting. So yeah, let's start off from like the bottom up, really. Well, from the bottom of this list. So from the Chinese puzzle maze. In all honesty, I don't know how I'm meant to rank this because it's been shot. So I don't know what it's like in there anymore. I don't know if they've trimmed the bushes up. I know that they did have it for Journey to Hell Freak Night, so I guess I should probably put it on boring because things it's not pleasurable. It's not painful or anything like that. It's just really a maze. It does have some nice, like they used to have water features in there. I haven't been in there for a number of years at this point. And I know that the mazes in the Chinese puzzle maze haven't been particular standout-ish, but I know they've kind of been there, but that's kind of been the same with all the other scare mazes in the event because, well, people have said it's not the scariest because of, the low age restriction and, wanting to keep it appropriate for younger audiences as well. Um, Blue Flyer is up next, so that's a wooden roller coaster. Got some great history behind it as well. Very old roller coaster. I would say it's good from the standpoint that it's a really good first roller coaster. That's the thing I'm going on because when like people are younger, that would be a great thing to go on. It's really fun, even when you are older. It's just like the sort of thing that you can go on but the thing is, it gets a massive queue. Like that's a weird thing about it is the fact that you know it's it gets a ridiculously long queue in the summer. I find sometimes in the winter, but really a lot less. But I guess that's the same with a lot of the Nickelodeon land stuff. You'd be shocked at how big one can't even hold a big enough queue to beat things like the Rugrats river ride. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's an alright ride. It's quite fun. It's good for younger kids as well. The Bikini Bottom Bus tour. I'm gonna have to give it boring. I think I've been on it once. I wouldn't say I've been on it any more times than that. It's just kind of, you know. Oh yeah, it was called Zipper Dipper. Yeah. I feel like that's partly a better name in a way. It sounds a lot more childish than Blue Flyer, in all honesty. And that was when it was Beaver Creek. Which I've made a ridiculous amount of videos on saying, will it be leaving Nickelodeon Land? But yeah, I don't know what's happening with that, but yeah, I think Zipper Dipper's a better name, wholeheartedly. But Bikini Bottom Bus Tour, been on it probably once. Nothing really special about it. It's like a Miami, but they forgot the part where it was the Miami. It's kind of just like a going around in a circle, Ferris wheel basic type of thing. Not the best. Big one. Oh wow. I thought the bottom was going to be the worst ones, but okay, amazing. It's not got the most intense layout or imaginative layout, in all honesty, but that's not what makes a great coaster, though. In my opinion, you have to have some diversity in it. But yeah, for the off-season stuff as well, they are actually refurbishing the Star Hill, which is where the old Star pub used to be, which is now the Boulevard Hotel, and the arch that goes over Burger King, up until that break run, that's all getting refurbished by the company that has retracked the other parts of the ride. So that'll be great. I'm really glad that they're refurbishing and retracking everything. But that Helix needs retracking as soon as I possibly can, because I hurt my neck all the time on that thing. So hopefully that'll get done. But I really like it. It's really fun. And it's a nice thing as well because it has a really nice throughput, so you can always get on it. Big Dipper, I would say great at the minute, because the thing is it's going through its retrack, and once it gets all this retracking work done, it will be a really great thing to go on as well, because I have noticed the retracking has actually made a decent difference as well, and I really hope it will keep doing that. And for obviously the upcoming anniversaries and things, I'm hoping it'll get some new merchandise. Whoa, it just completely changed my screen to look at that ad there. Wow. Anyway, yeah, I do think it will definitely improve in coming years. But I don't prefer it to necessarily the other wooden roller coasters. I prefer it to Nickelodeon Streak and Blue Flyer, but not to Grand National, because I have a soft spot for that coaster. It was the first Woody I went on at the park, so Backyardigan's Pirate Treasure, I'm gonna say good, because it's not an outstanding ride. It's fun, and it's really fun to go on it. The forces are nice to experience and stuff. But it's not exactly oh yeah, I can't wait to get on Backyardigan Pirate Treasure. But it's never got a long queue, so it's the best ride to go on there, because Avatar Airbender, that picks up on its queue. The Lost River Rugrats ride, all of that stuff has massive queues normally, but Backyardigans never seems to be able to hold one, even though it's probably the best one there that isn't Airbender or Nick Streak, because they normally have massive queues. Oh, speak of the devil, Avatar Airbender is here. Oh, do I say good or great? Because the things I really like disco coasters, Navigator at Flamingo Land. That's a really fun one. And I always do make sure that I take a ride on it. Which one do I go for? I'm gonna say good, because I feel amazing and great. Oh, it keeps on making me want to look at this advert. But I would say while I do really like those sorts of rides, and I make sure to go on it every time, it's not my priority. It's not the sort of thing that I'm massively sort of really wanting to go on every time I go to the Pleasure Beach. But yeah, amazing and great, I think I reserve mainly for roller coasters. Avalanche, I would say that is also great. I just think that Avalanche is just a really diverse coaster. You don't find these things anymore. It is a steel bobsled coaster, but the thing is, it's just so atmospheric. The bears outside, I'm so glad they brought them back, because they had to obviously refur them or whatever they did, or clean their outfits up, because obviously you don't want stinky overalls on your Swedish bears or whatever it is. But yeah, really fun ride. And also it is actually very forceful. I feel people underestimate it a little bit, because those restraints really do hurt you when you go around. Well, the thing is, you go around the first corner and you're oh yeah, this is a pretty fun ride, but you're a bit disappointed. You're oh, it's not that fast, and then it goes down that dip into the snake element, and bam, bam, bam. Yeah, the queue on Avalanche is not, it's not fun. Yeah, I think the longest time I've waited for Avalanche is probably an hour and a half. And that was me thinking that it wasn't going to be an hour and a half, but I can remember someone giving me some advice saying, if it comes out with the pig pen, if it's in the little pig pen area where you have to go around the ropes, it will take you 40 minutes to an hour if it's all stocked up in there. If it goes out, you're looking past an hour, near on 2 hours. Obviously they can't help the throughput, which is a shame, but obviously safety first, and it's a good thing that that's a priority for the park as well. Alpine Rally. I honestly have no idea what to say. I'm just gonna say average purely because I don't think I've ever been on this ride. I think 90% of the time it's shut. But I guess it'd be okay for some kids. You know, it's like a smaller Grand Prix ride, in all honesty. But I would definitely, if I was younger, I would pick the Eddie Stobart ride over the Alpine Rally any day. It just seems like a cooler idea. In all honesty. Um, Wonder Pet's Big Circus Bounce. Uh, I would honestly say boring. Like, the thing is, it's one of those like filler rides that is essential to be there. In all honesty, because not many kids want to go on it. But the thing is, if you bring a younger child, that's the option for you to go on. But it's just kind of like a dumbed down version of the Fairly Odd Parents taxi spin ride. So it's just kind of there out of necessity that some people won't be tall enough to go on the taxi spin, and that's there as another option. Oh, Thrill-O-Matic, that's going straight up. Oh, do I go amazing just purely because I love this ride so much? Like, I can't watch a Wallace and Gromit film anymore without thinking, oh my god, that ride is so cool, it's so fun. I just, like, the thing is, Goldmine, it was a really good ride, and obviously the Blue Grotto was incredible, with, the overlooking of the Magnolia Cafe into, the river caves and the gold mine. I'll admit, that looked really nice, but the thing is, there is a certain time where, people need something new, and it definitely was losing traction. Like, people weren't going on it as much, and having Wallace and Gromit has been a massive improvement in my opinion. It has a lot of charm. You have the films playing and documentaries playing in the queue line. I just think it's such a charming ride. And not to mention, like, the gift shop has so many great pieces of merchandise in it as well. Just a really outstanding ride in my opinion. But they could really do some work on the end with the Were Rabbit, because when I first went on it when it opened in like 2012, 2013, that thing jumped out second you went around the corner and really took you by surprise. Oh, ad again. But now you go in and you're like, oh look, it's there, and then it comes out, and you kind of have to wait a little bit, which is a bit, of a shame. SpongeBob Splash Bash. I would say good, because the thing is, on a hot day when the Lost River ride is packed full of people and the queue is impossible, this thing is a lifesaver because you get not probably as wet, because I'm gonna be honest with you, that is a surprisingly wet ride. Is the Lost River. But yeah, this is really fun, and it's really nice to pick someone to have a vendetta against and constantly spray water at them, and also try to get people who think they're cool by squirting you from the side. It's always nice to do something like that. Oh, then it's of course Rugrats Lost River. I'm gonna put that in the great category just purely because the thing is, it's really sad that obviously we lost the log flume, which was, a charming classic log flume, which is a dying breed. But this is shockingly wet. Like, it's a tiny, like, maybe 20-foot log flume, and somehow it just sucks you. It might be partly because of how close, like, the splashback glass is, to the actual, like, splash trough, that just makes it come back onto you. It's a surprisingly wettening ride. But the theming could do with a little bit of a polish here and there. But beggars can't be choosers. It is, after all, a Rugrats ride. So it's not going to be perfect. It's not like them. It's losing its traction in the IP style of it. Like, obviously, Rugrats classic. Loads of 90s kids will come to the park and be like, yeah, it's Rugrats, I'm going to go on it just because it's Rugrats. So it's kind of a very smart thing of getting older people into the area as well to increase your audience. River Caves, amazing, no questions about it. And soundtrack is great, and the thing is, it's obviously not an in-house soundtrack. It, like, a lot of things, like, I believe the one in the Blue Grotto, that's Prelude to Earthrise. Don't know the rest of them. But yeah, you can find these like all on YouTube, all of the soundtrack. But yeah, I don't think they need to like refurbish it or anything in there. I feel like you just ruined the charm a bit. Like they have added some like the like holographic style of things, particularly in the under the water area where they have like the jellyfish that are made out like spinning like fiber optic lights, and then also the fire in the caveman section, and that is like all false. Don't know if they'll do that with Valhalla though. But yeah, really nice effects in there, and it's got a lot of charm to it. I do particularly like the dinosaur bit, the prehistoric area. That's a really fun area, and I like how they've updated it though. They have painted it. They do have a nice bit of water coming down now. It actually has that atmosphere. Although when I went last, they had all the water coming down, looked really nice. No music. It really ruined it. The fact that there was no music in there. I don't think there was music really anywhere. I don't think. I think there was oh yeah, there was music in the rest of the ride, but not in the dinosaur bit. And it made it really eerie. And then when we went into the caveman bit, the lights went off in that particular bit. Really creepy. But I kind of enjoyed it because I obviously didn't go to Journey to Hell Freight Nights this year. And it kind of gave me a taste of what it was like doing the Legend of the Cursed River Caves. But I would really love to have done that experience though. Oh, back to adverts. Revolution. I'm gonna say great for this. Like it is, I believe, the first like fully looping coaster like that does this type of thing. It is by Aerodynamics, and it's like a shuttle coaster. Really, it is a pretty fun ride though. You do get the obviously like the forward launch and the backwards launch, which isn't technically a launch. It's more like a pulley car that's just pushing you back and pushing you forward. It depends which way you look at it. The things I've noticed that they've reduced like the multi-directional seats. Like, I know that at one point there was a train on that had no backward-facing seats. I don't know when that was. I can't remember, but like I can remember there was no one sat looking backwards. Really weird. But it is still a fun ride, and of course, for the off season, they have lifted these trains off, and they are obviously getting repainted and checked because, of course, maintenance, and they do all the nice repainting stuff, and it's really great that they do that to keep it all looking nice. Red Arrows Skyfalls. No. This is one that I need to decide on. I would say this is good. Like the thing is, I actually rode this at the last late night riding. And well, not the last late night riding of the season. I don't. No, it was on the 30th of October. This thing was incredible. It was really cold. And obviously the wind's in your face. And I sat on the outermost like sort of section of it, and you go so high, it's like you feel like you're on the big one. It's really fun. I don't really go on it to turn around and like do flips or anything because I just find it impossible. But like, really fun ride though. I do quite like when it does a boost when you go to right at the bottom. Yeah, Bling. Yeah, Bling is definitely a better one. I actually have no idea why Bling, was removed. It seemed like it was perfectly operational. I don't know if like it was just purely because of its color scheme. I feel like it probably was because like everything in that area seems to be red. Like you had the big one with the red tracks, and then you have Red Arrow Skyforce with the red, and then you have Icon with the grey, and then you have Red Arrows with the grey. So I feel like it was more a colour scheme thing for some reason, even though they could have recolored it. Easy. They do painting all the time, but I feel like as a substitute, it's not the best because it's a completely different breed of ride. Like, it's not necessarily a thrill ride, but I wouldn't put it in average because it does get people on it like most of the day, and that's like the only reason why it's kind of tipped over onto that one. And they probably could if they wanted. No, actually, that's like completely unrealistic. I was gonna say that they could probably put one near like something similar to that near like Trauma Towers, but I don't know how they wouldn't make it an eyesore. Um, I have no idea what's happening to that area actually. Where Wild Mouse was, and also where Trauma Towers was. Like, the thing is, I always say this: Wild Mouse. There could be nothing in that area other than another Wild Mouse. There is literally no space. Like, I know they're using it for the hub at the minute, but it still looks very temporary. The hub, it doesn't look very permanent. So I have a feeling they're gonna do something with the area other than the hub, or maybe have a permanent hub. I have no idea, but they could easily move the hub to where like the area Planet Rock was. But I just have no idea what they could fit on there. It's like the tiniest area of land ever, and they're already using it for things that are kind of useful. But yeah, Trauma Towers, miss it. And also, like, I am very glad that they do still have the zombie bench out near the ghost train, because my life would be incomplete without the zombie bench. Like, I feel like that's the only remaining remnant, and also probably the dryer. Like, I can remember seeing people come out of Trauma Towers before I'd actually been in there, and I was terrified, kind of, because they came out and I was like, oh my god, they need to get in the dryer. But yeah, you didn't really get that where people were just going in the dryer to scare you, I think. And then, obviously, inside of Trauma Towers changed to a photo booth, which, when bad goes to worse. Pleasure Beach Express. Do I go great or amazing? Like, the thing is, really nice-ish scenery. I say ish because things are aging in there. I'm gonna say great. Repaint it, amazing. Because I just like it for no apparent reason. I feel like I'm insane for thinking it's like the best ride in the world. No, I don't think that. But I like going on it. Like, if you go on Airbender like 60 times and then you feel dizzy, perfect ride to go on. Apart from, if you have a very noisy train, and I've been on a noisy train twice where people are screaming, and then you just feel even more dizzy than you were before. But yeah, they need to redo stuff, definitely, in there. The dinosaurs have their faces falling off. I know that they did put a tusk back on an elephant, but that's the extent of the rework. And also the skull fountain, that's had some work done on the water coming out of its eyes. Other than that, nothing. It really needs it. Nothing impressive. Just repaint them and maybe put the faces back on, because they're probably hidden somewhere. Nickelodeon Streak. I'm gonna demote it to good. I would say great if its queue times weren't as ridiculous as they are. In all honesty, with how long the break section is, at the back, they could probably have a second train running and change that to just like a full like block section at the back. So then they could have two trains on. Even if that meant that like one had to be held somewhere, like at the top of the lift hill, it had to be held and then released. I don't know. They could probably do something like that if they really wanted to, but yeah, throughput on this ride, horrific. Really not a fan of it. Like, the thing is, it's an okay ride. It's obviously got the embankments that a lot of wooden coasters, when this was built, because obviously it was built early 1900s, and obviously was called roller coaster back then, and like hardly had any restraints, so it's pretty innovative. But now it's the innovator of horrific throughput. It's kind of like trying to get to Avalanche stage. I have waited for this ride 2 hours because has a very elusive queue, especially with the new like boards up for COVID. They have massively changed the like appearance of the queue line. Like, you think, oh, this will only take me half an hour, and then you get down and the bit where it's like kind of underground and you can see out into like the road by the side of it, I believe Watson Tunnel. Yeah, that's when it gets intense because it's really hot down there as well. Yeah, 2 hours in that place. Never again. and my ride wasn't even that great. I was middle row, and I got thrashed around. Krusty Krab Order Up, I'm gonna say just average, because, like, it's like Ice Blast for kids, but then, like, it's not tall enough to be for, the people that don't like that height of Ice Blast, because it's like, oh, it's over 100 feet tall, it's about 145 feet. Krusty Krab Order Up is maximum like 25, 30 feet. But I see kids having a good time on it, so it's not boring, it's average, just purely because, like, it's just that, it's kind of, like, it's a fun drop tower for kids. It's not got that much appeal to anyone else at all. Like, adults, I don't think can go on it. I don't think I think I've seen one adult go on it, but, like, I feel like it'd fall off, if anything else happened with that. Infusion. Do you go average, good, or not pleasurable? Because it depends on how you ride it. Like, if you ride it in a certain position, then you won't break your neck and get whiplash. And it's got a good layout on paper, like, truly. With the Cobra roll and, like, the half loop and all that jazz. It's, and also the inline roll, that's another thing that you don't see that much at parks anymore. I do think that it's got really nice layout, but if you're in a certain point of the ride, you have no chance. And the thing is, with it being that breed of coaster, I believe it's a Vekoma, yeah. And it was, firstly called Traumatizer, which it is now traumatizing. It's not like a B&M like Nemesis where there's 4 seats, so then, there's the option to not be on a wheel seat. This you have to be. Yeah, I'm probably gonna put it on average, because, like, the thing is, like, yeah, if you're taller, you probably will get a bit more of it, in all honesty, because, like, I have seen tall people go on the ride, and I think I saw a guy who was like 6'4", like, go on it, and oh my god, it was ridiculous. Like, he was practically touching the water as he was going around. But yeah, the thing is, all the seats are on a wheel seat, so, like, with Nemesis, you can choose to not be on a wheel seat depending on how you like to sit. Because if you're on a wheel seat, then you're gonna get hit a little bit. If you're not on a wheel seat, then, you're gonna be fine, really. But it depends on how you like to ride a coaster. It depends on how you sit. Valhalla, amazing. Obviously, it's won awards to even prove that point. It's obviously gonna be up there. It's just, like, no brainer. Oh, so excited for when it reopens in, like, May this year. So that'll be exciting. But a lot of people have been discussing, like, the fact that it's getting a new soundtrack. I feel like I need to remind people that it's been redone by the Noble Stranger, and this guy has done the soundtracks for Hot Eyes, and he did actually work on the original theme for Valhalla. Also, he worked on Icon. He worked on the Big One's 25th anniversary soundtrack, which is insane. And he's worked on some other good projects too. And I'm sure that whatever he does with Valhalla, it's going to be good. And also, suggesting that he's worked on Highs before, I don't think he's going to completely remove the Valhalla theme. And I feel like people wouldn't let him. It'd be like sacrilege. There'd probably be people playing it outside of the ride anyway. But I think he's going to do something great with it. But yeah, the thing he did say was that he wanted the music to change throughout the ride. So the outside theme might stay the same, and then the inside stuff will be different. And I don't think that's necessarily bad stuff. Yeah, I do believe on the TikTok stream they did say they were keeping fire and getting wet. Good thing that. But there will be a slight surprise in it. Which I don't know what that will be. Whether it's like a layout change. I got really scared because they took out the netting where the turntable is. I believe they're just like fixing it back up because like obviously they would have already had to reprofile the outside of the ride to get rid of the turntable because there'd just be a gaping hole there. But I do believe they're keeping that in. I don't know. Like that's a bit that people really like. But yeah, I really do hope they put screens in there. Like that would be god awful if there was screens in there. I would literally cry if I went on and there was screens. They have removed a lot of the animatronics from the inside and the scenery. That can be found literally in the car park outside. There is like all the stuff from the Winter Wonderland, and then there is like a bunch of Vikings just outside. And they're all there. Just waiting for everybody to look at them. Thompson Carousel, and you say boring. Like, Derby Racer takes the cake. That's all I have to say about that. Really, nothing to worry about at the park. Steeplechase. Oh god, this is like this is hurting my heart having to choose where to put this thing because I feel like, it's just we're gonna go good, and that's not because I don't like the ride. Love the ride. It's got a vague history. Like obviously Red Rum did the whole opening ceremony thing. But it's got an okay layout. It's not meant to be thrilling. It's meant to be like a kid's horse ride. But it takes like horse ride to the extreme. So it's fun. Queue times, however, not fun. Obviously they can't have that many horses on at once. And obviously they can't have multiple horses connected to each other because that would be a mess. But yeah, the queue times get ridiculous, and the things if you want to race against your family, you have no chance because you can't gauge if people are going on as a two or as a single rider. So you can never tell if you're going to be on with your family. So or you friends if you're going with your friends, but like I don't get that. I know that can't be an option for that. It just mess up the queue times even more. But like, you wait a long time and then you having to wait even longer for other people in your party really doesn't help. But you can't help that type of stuff. Grand Prix. Let's go average. Just purely because like thing is now going on the Grand Prix is like going on like a behind the scenes tour of the whole park. Because obviously the thing is it's kind of embarrassing. Like obviously people go on it to get the views. And like you can see like older people like in their 30s or their 40s going to look at things, and people look at them really weird because like I've been in the icon queue as they're going past. And like people give a really weird look, but like they don't understand how cool it is being down there. Like you get nice views of the big one, you get nice views of Icon. It's a good sightseeing tour. Probably, not as good as the what's it called, the Pleasure Beach Express, because like that you're going next to the second Icon launch before the Junior Immelman, even though I think I've only been lucky enough once to see it go through that Immelman as I'm passing by on the train. But and then it's got the views of the big one. You go next to Infusion. It's got some really nice views, that train as well. Other than just the other theming and scenery. Grand National, we're going for great. It's getting like retrack work, but the thing is, I really hopeful for what's gonna happen. For when it reopens next year, because like I have no idea what happened last year. God, it's weird saying last year now, isn't it? But it was really strange seeing it close like so suddenly because I went late night riding and I was like, oh, it's closed. What's it doing closed? I'm sure it'll reopen because whenever it breaks down on the lift hill, which is a ever more common occurrence now, but that's just probably because it needs maintenance. They always get it open in like 5 minutes to take the people off the ride, and then they basically start back up again, and it doesn't close for the rest of the day. But it was a bit weird seeing it just shut randomly, and I was thinking, oh no, Wild Mouse Mark 2, this is gonna happen again. Didn't. It's not gonna happen because obviously why would they close Grand National? People would go nuts with the park if they closed Grand National. And that's just that. It can be a little bit rough at times, but the thing is, it's harder on older people. Like, if you're in your 30s, probably mainly 40s, 50s onwards, that thing will be horrible to you. But if you're younger, I suppose, it's better. But then again, I don't mind the thrashing round. I feel like it's more for me airtime. But it's a massive thing on, your age or, like, your weight as well. Yeah, yeah. It's such a timeless ride as well. Like, it is so, like, people from, like, a century ago, could have ridden this coaster and stuff. So, it's very timeless. It's very multi-generational. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It has a place in my heart as well. It was the first Woody I went on, at the park. It wasn't the first Woody I went on at all. No, it actually was, I think. But yeah, really fun ride. And, you know, it kind of surprised me first time I went on it because you can't see the rest of the layout. You go up that lift hill, it turns, and then you're in a completely different back lot of the park. And it really shocked me first time I went on it because I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be like the other things that I've seen. It wasn't at all. I also feel I need to mention also Big Dipper. How it's in the great section. Also the queue times ridiculous on that thing. Grand National has like long queues like all the time. But if you, like, say, went to the burger shop across from Grand National and you pinpointed one person in that queue, you could go and you could get that burger and they'd probably be nearly on the ride. The throughput on that thing on Grand National is pretty impressive when it's not getting stuck on the lift hill. Next up, Ghost Train. Straight to amazing. Oh, let's put it next to Valhalla there. Ghost Train, it has that charm, indelible charm. And the thing is, people talk about it being outdated and being very basic. I am one of those people. I believe that that's simply just charm. Nothing but charm. And I feel like people oftentimes disagree with me on it and they say it looks ugly. I remember getting very offended at a friend once when they said, oh yeah, Ghost Train, well, a load of rubbish. Like, it looks ugly, outdated, old. I can't believe you like the Pleasure Beach. And it really upset me. But the Ghost Train is just so cool. Like, the thing is they're adding things constantly to it. And the main thing I feel like I need to tell people is that the older things in the Ghost Train work better than the new things. I went on a late night riding on it twice, like not in a row, but I got in the queue line straight after. And when I went on it the first time, the mirror where the woman's banging on it, had just the sound on it, and it wasn't like the sound and the movement was working, and I was like, oh, that's weird. There's no picture on it, and then I went on it a second time, and there was just a picture on it and there was no sound or movement. And I was like, how can that happen in the space of 10 minutes? Not to mention throughput is variable on this as well. Like the thing is, I do like the soundtrack. It I don't know why. It repeats the same phrase over and over again, with the scream and scream and scream, and I for some reason I don't mind it. Some people think it's a bit annoying, but I don't. I didn't even realise what it said until, probably this year. Well, I mean last year. Oh my god, this is confusing. But yeah, really great ride. Really like it. But yeah, that mirror needs to sort itself out. Not to mention the weird, I remember the original version of it was a skeleton and its head came down, but now it's a zombie and its head comes down. Now, in the present, the head is permanently down on the end of that pipe. It has not worked since probably opening week, which is the only time I think I've known it do that last year actually work. Gallopers, hold up. I swear Gallopers is the same as the Thompson Carousel. Huh? Where's Gallopers? That looks like it's by the big one. So which is a Thompson Carousel? I'm so confused right now. Oh, I don't know. I'm going it on boring, and I'm not going to say anything about it. Sorry, I've already talked about this. Flying machines, good. Fun. Nice to get some wind in your face as well. Got a lovely view, and it's also a great way to get a sneak peek at Valhalla as well. Obviously the only thing you will see trying to get a sneak peek on flying machines at Valhalla is the roof, which has been retiled and everything, which is always nice to get that maintenance work up and going. But yeah, just a roof. You can see part of the ride trough. That is looking the same. You know, not changed any of the layout really. It's all drained. It's not got any water in it, obviously, but you know, it's still there. So there's no issues on there being a sudden explosion or drop at the end of it. It all looks the same, but it's nice to get a retile on it as well. Very well, Taxi Spain, good as well. You know, it's okay. Um, it's kind of like a gambling game, really, on this ride, on whether or not your car can actually, well, your taxi can actually lift in the air. And, you know, sometimes you have to wait till halfway through the ride for it to finally let you go up. You know, it's fun. You get a nice view. You know, I feel like it is a good ride when it's got no queue. Like I said, Nickelodeon Land, for some reason, garners the biggest queues in the whole park. And it's truly something else. It's a different breed as that area. Like, I don't, even the CBeebies Land is like, at Alton Towers is notorious for having long queues. I feel like no one has seen what Nickelodeon's like in the summer. Like, that thing is incredible with its queue times. And not in a good way at all. Eddie Soback Convoy Ride. I'm gonna. Oh no, wait. I put Grand Prix on average, so I have to put this on average as well. I know that. I just don't. I've been on this like twice. And the thing is, the only reason I'm putting it here is because like I know that like the Grand Prix has the option of like steering slightly and stuff, and it feels like you're driving an actual car. But for some reason, I just feel like kids would prefer a truck. Like, I don't know why, it's just something about a truck that makes it so much better than a car. Like, you can drive, you can be in, like, you came in a car to the pleasure beach, or maybe a bus, I don't know. But then you get to go on a truck, and it takes you and you see, like, goats and things. And, like, I feel like that's a much more preferable thing to a child is a truck than a car. But I don't know. And also the queue times are a lot shorter. That, like, obviously, when I was younger, I would not have had the patience to queue up for a Grand Prix. Not at all. Sometimes it can be upwards of an hour on that thing. Dora's World Voyage, good. Just purely because it's like got that educational factor in it, and everyone loves Dora. Like teenagers go on the Dora ride because it's like, you know, sort of meme thing. So people will go on that just for the laugh. You know, I have no idea why. It's like slow, and it's a shame though how it's turned out though, because I went on it this year, Dora's World Voyage, and the elephant used to squirt water out of its trunk. It doesn't do that anymore. But the scenery is nice. It's been maintained very well. It's got a decent soundtrack and audio narration as well. You do get to learn things about like languages, animals, cultures, and things. And I guess that's a nice thing to have in a park. You know, something remotely educational. But then again, you could probably experience a ride from like a POV or from the lift hill of Nickelodeon Streak. Like, it's not essential because I'm only saying that because of the queue times it gets. It queues out the station to get on the Dora's World Voyage ride a lot of the time. That includes the summer as well, where everything has a queue. Dodgem's average. I see this with a pretty big queue. People like it because it's a competition, of course. You know, it's okay. Been on it once, and that's it. That's all I have to say. Impossible, boring. Yeah, haven't seen it open. I went 3 times last year, and I didn't see it open once. I saw the outside of it moving, like as in the faces moving and the illusions and things. And it just was. It hasn't been open, which is a more disappointing thing for me. Is the fact that you know, it hasn't been open. And like the thing is, I've probably been in there once, and I probably came out of it, in all honesty. And I feel like if they're gonna reopen it, do it for next year. I don't know if they're gonna close it and redo something with it, but like the thing is, you already have 2 empty plots of land. Having a third one isn't really gonna do you any favors. You might as well keep it open. And I know that people do go in it. Like people, when it was open, went in it a lot, and I know that I saw people come in, never saw anyone come out, which is a bit shady. But I feel like people would want it, to come back, so long as, it keeps it from being an empty plot of land again. Because I know that, if they're going to take it off, they're not going to have enough time at this point to put in artificial grass like the other areas, and it's going to look horrific. Icon. Okay, this is going to take me a while to talk about. Love Icon with all my heart. I don't think it deserves the smack it gets, because people talk about Icon horrifically. They say it's horrific. They say it's really bad, and people take the mick out of Mac launches as well, because they're not particularly forceful or fast. Like the thing is, it's an LSM launch. Linear synchronous motor. It works mainly with like electricity and magnets and things. You know, Depending on which company you choose, it's harder to maintain. They've gone with Mac for this launch coaster, which is a good idea on the behalf of them. The thing is, it gets it to like a 40-50 mile an hour speed in that short launch section, and it does all the elements. It has the G-force, and it's incredibly fun. It's just an incredible roller coaster with so much airtime, and like the thing is, it doesn't need the speed. And if they'd have picked somewhere like Intamin, who recently did the Velocicoaster, they would be in for a long ride of horrific maintenance that would cost them so much money. Like, Velocicoaster is an outstanding coaster, got a great layout, it's tall, it's impressive, it's fast, but it's an Intamin launch, and not to mention it's a fast Intamin launch, and it's an LSM launch as well. So it's not gonna be fun. And it's gonna take a lot of maintenance. Is anyone still here? I believe that my view count has gone to 0. Do I keep talking about Icon? Are people bored of me talking about Icon? I have no idea. I feel like I need to talk about it. I feel really sad now. I'm joking, if anyone's still here. But yeah, Noble Stranger did the soundtrack. So yeah, that's another good one. The thing is, I feel like Icon is probably has the best soundtrack out of. Oh, thank you for being still here. I feel like Icon has the best soundtrack in the UK. I know that IMA score, they do a lot of stuff for like Alton Towers and things. And another Smilers one really fits it. Really irritating. And gets stuck in your head, which is the whole point of it. Like, it's meant to be brainwashing. But Icon is so vibes. Like, I can listen to it, and it just feels like the atmosphere of the Pleasure Beach is in that soundtrack. It's so fun. And the thing is, I've lost a subscriber. We're no longer on 100 subscribers, guys. The 100 substream is now 99 substream. Oh my god, this is not good. Anyway, wow. Anyway, yeah, the soundtrack is 13 minutes long, but they do have the other, like, suspense ones as well. I just love the idea that they've synced up the Icon to the launch now. It makes me so happy. Because now you don't have to guess on whether or not it's gonna go Icon as you launch. So much fun. Genuinely outstanding ride with a great soundtrack. I also should probably talk about the big ones soundtrack as well while we're on the subject of these. That soundtrack is really cool. Terrifying when you're next to the lift hill, as I found out. I was queuing up for it, and I was stood by the chain lift, like right underneath where it, obviously starts. And it's obviously really loud there, but so is the soundtrack to try cover over it. But the thing is, Noble Stranger in both of these two soundtracks has decided to put the sounds of like banging metal and chain lifts in, so it sounds like the ride's falling to pieces from there, and it's terrifying. Yeah, really great soundtrack as well, with all like the information in it. It's not like shouting at you like 235 feet. It's like, 235 feet, beep 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 beep. I can't recreate the soundtrack. I'm so sorry for that impression. But yeah, really great, and it's got a nice beat to it, and like Icon definitely takes the mustard with the merchandising side of things. Really comfortable merchandise, really tasteful as well, and it's got a lot of it. It's got its own shop, and Big One not so much. I don't like the Big One merchandise where it's like a really big one on it. I really don't like it. I know it's like kind of like a massive joke, but like um not my favorite for definite. Not my favorite. I do think they might redo it this year. For the new merchandise for it, because obviously you got Valhalla coming back. They're gonna massively bring out the merchandise for it. I can't remember if it is Big Dipper that's saying it's 99th anniversary. I think it is. But that'll also probably be game merchandise for that. Ice Blast. Oh, I'm gonna have to say good on that. Like, it is a really, big launch tower. And like you don't find too many like hydraulic launch towers out there anymore, necessarily. But very, intense ride as well. The suspense is really fun. Not too sure how the actual ride operation works on it, if it's actually random, because the things I don't know if it's the same time intervals between, obviously locking into position and then launching. I'm not too sure if they do that to people. But yeah, got a brilliant view as well. Probably not as good as the big one, because the big one takes longer to go down from that height and also to get up there. Ice Blast is kind of like you go up, you have like a second or two interval to look, and then you back down, but you're probably too scared to look anyway. But yeah, it does still have the queues. A lot of people daring each other to go on it, so it's definitely one of those rides. Diego's Rainforest Rescue. God, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Iceberg seems slower from a decade ago. Yeah, no, I do think that's actually right. I have noticed that it is very minorly slower, and I do think that's partially because the only real maintenance have done is like the topper. I know they keep the Union Jack top on it. In the Valhalla area, which is practically the only interesting thing we've seen behind that boarding for Valhalla, other than retiling of the station roof. But yeah, I don't think they've replaced the hydraulics in that ride. I have no idea. Oh, advert again. You see, I need to count how many times that advert has taken up my screen. It's ridiculous. But yeah, definitely it has slowed down. But if they probably replace the hydraulics, they could do something. They have just released a model of it. Like, please do something with it, because I can also notice that the tracks are yellowing as well. Last time I went, I was definitely thinking that is yellow now. That's kind of going brown. And the thing is, like, it is by the sea. It's gonna go brown at some point. But at some point I do need to fix that. Diego's Rainforest Rescue. Back to that one. I honestly have no idea what to say on this one. Like, boring, average. Like, I wish there was like an option to just put them in the middle, because if you're gone it with someone who doesn't like hate being spun around. Like, I don't like spinning that much. I will do Enso with the spinning back seats on Icon, just purely to say I did it, and also to say, haha, I went on it when there wasn't like a 6-hour queue for it. Oh, another advert. Because inevitably Enso's gonna have a massive queue when it opens. And the thing is, from what I've seen of the one that they did at was it Dreamworld in Australia, when they prototyped the spinning back cars after park closing hours, and that looked really good and really fun. So I can't wait for Enso. It'll be really intense, but yeah, Diego's Rainforest Rescue will probably beat Enso on its spinning intensity, because if you get with someone who like wants to spin around, that thing can go like supersonic. Like, I've seen people going round on that, and I'm thinking, oh my god, the bearing at the top screwing off. But yeah, it's got decent view as well. We're all about the views. That sounds really bad. Coming from a YouTube channel. Derby Racer. I'm gonna say great. Love the music on Derby Racer. Who doesn't? Like, it's classic, fairground sort of thing with all the xylophones, and you can spot some relatively recent tunes, like a lot of newer disco tunes as well on there. Really great fun Derby Racer. It's the best carousel you can ever go on. It's not really a carousel though, because you're not attached to the ceiling. And the horses are cool and they're tall, and if you get on the outermost side of it, it feels like you're going faster when you go in the same speed as everyone else. Very fun ride, in my opinion. I have to go on every time. And then of course Alice Ride, otherwise known as Alice in Wonderland. Apparently the park thinks this is an incredible ride because of course it was included in the Santa's Grotto. This is just such a good ride. Like obviously the exterior song that plays, with Alice, who I only recently found out was apparently played by Amanda Thompson, the person who actually owns the park. And that really shocked me, just purely because the soundtrack on the outside is so grainy. You could believe wholeheartedly that was from actual Alice in Wonderland, and like the person had recorded that. The person who played Alice had recorded that especially for it, and I totally believed that for the longest time until I found out it was her. But yeah, I listened recently to the soundtrack on the outside, which I think is really funny. I don't think it's particularly annoying. It gets stuck in your head, but then again, it's better than the Smiler soundtrack to get stuck in your head. And I think it's an alright one. But I listened to it, and it's the difference between the speakers and the actual soundtrack is there's like multiple instruments in the actual soundtrack, and it's very layered. But the one at the Pleasure Beach, because of, obviously the foliage in front of the speakers and how old they are, they obviously conceal that sound. It sounds like one instrument. Does it still have that weird, nice smell? Yes. The thing is, during 2020 and 2021, actually, that they actually turned up the scent pods, and the thing is, I felt so betrayed when they said it was a scent pod that's in the ride. And they also have a scent pod in Wallace and Gromit with the bakery scene, where it smells like bread. It doesn't smell like bread at all. But yeah, it's actually fake, and they can turn it up, and I that confused me a lot because of the fact that it, they can turn the smell upon the ride, and I'm not too sure what particular smell it is. They just said that it's a nostalgic smell. Not sure what that means or what generation nostalgia comes from. Whether or not it's like dust or weird sweets from some dodgy shop. I have no idea. It doesn't. It smells nice. That's the thing. But it's not. It's nostalgic because you smell it on the ride before. But outside of that, if you never smelled it before, you wouldn't think, "Oh yeah, I recognize that." It's a very peculiar but nice smell. And I really do like that they turned it up because obviously wearing face masks on the ride, which last year you didn't have to do. But having that turned up meant that you could definitely smell it through your mask, which is a brilliant idea. And of course, it is still playing I've Got a Golden Ticket, which people have speculated was like the original, was meant to be in the original soundtrack for Alice in Wonderland Ad Again, but obviously was given to them for whatever reason. But some people just think that they decided to put it in for the sake of it, but it is definitely Golden Ticket. Not to mention, the ride in itself, what makes it so good, like, compared to the other dark rides on the list, is just how much stuff is in there. Like, genuinely, you can turn to the left, right, look up or down, and you will see something different. Like, I discover new things every time. Like, when you go around the corner after the croquet game with the giant Alice, like going into like the dark section before you turn into like the forest or whatever where the bluebells are, I believe. There's actually a clock down there that I never noticed until like 2020. So yeah, really strange but fun, charming ride with a weird smell to it. And that is the list complete. Wow. Yeah. I feel like that feels strangely short for a list of rides. Actually, it feels very strange seeing that and think, no, that's it. That's all the rides there. I feel like there's something missing. It's probably because like a lot of the ride, like there's free, apparently according to this list, free carousels. Don't believe that at all. Um, but yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna put a number on which is the best coaster, God, I'm giving away my answer already. The best ride there, I feel like, oh no way, do I say Icon? Because like best coaster, Icon goes that straight away, and then second to it is Big One. Because obviously Icon has the merchandise, it has the atmosphere, it has the layout, and it's smooth and everything. And not to mention it's getting Enso as well, the spinning cars. So what more do you want from it? It's an ever-changing ride. Not to mention it's had obviously the interaction with Journey to Hell with the blindfolded ride. Obviously best dark ride. Has to go to. Oh no, I love every single one of the dark rides like so much. I feel like it's a tie between. Oh no. I feel like it has to go between River Caves and Alice in Wonderland because the thing is, I've skipped over the Ghost Train like once or twice because of queues, and I don't feel like empty about not going on it. But if I don't go on Alice in Wonderland, I feel like really disappointed that I didn't go on it. Um, River Caves, I don't think I've ever missed out on going on River Caves. I always find time for it, even when there is like an hour long queue. I have queued an hour for it. Um, I the thing is when it's a like a hot day where there's long queues, I do actually get my phone out and time it. Just to say, I queued so and so minutes for this ride. Look at that, that's ridiculous. Or, ooh, that's shocking. I only queued 10 minutes for Ghost Train and was queuing out the thing. Which did happen on late night riding where it was queuing near to where like the like you know how there's the amusements on like the arcade games on the other side of the Ghost Train, and where that ends, that was where he's going up to. So like past the exit and like end of the facade of the Ghost Train, and it took me 10 minutes to go through that whole queue, which is amazing. But like River Caves, charming. It's a beautiful ride. I feel like yeah, Alice in Wonderland is essential for me. So is River Caves. I feel like the other ones I wouldn't be too sad missing out on if there was a massive queue. If there was like no queue and I missed out on it, really upset about that. Um, best flat ride. Um, Avatar Airbender. Why did I think about that? Yeah, really great disco coaster. I've not been on Navigator at Flamingo Land in, oh my god, wow, since 2019. Oh wow. I didn't realize that until I literally just thought when was the last time I went on Navigator? 2019. Oh wow, that was one way to feel sad. But yeah, I haven't been on Navigator for so long at Flamingo Land, and that's bigger, substantially bigger than Airbender. But and I don't think it's made by the same ones because Airbender's Zamperla, and I think the Navigator might also be Zamperla, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I don't know which is better, but Airbender is really fun. And I feel like I'd have to say it's better than Navigator just purely because I go to Flamingo Land less by a lot. I go to Pleasure Beach every year. I think I've been to Flamingo Land twice. And is there any other things I can say about like my favorite out of it? Because I feel like putting favorite ride on it, favorite event. We can do this. I'm literally dragging it out. Just for funsies. Also, if anyone has any questions, if like there's you know the view count is really messed up and like there's actually like 1,000 people watching this, which there is obviously not going to be. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them while I go through this. Best event for me, Halloween, like just in general. Like the thing is, the Journey to Hell Freak Nights when it first opened in 2019, wasn't the best, in all honesty. Didn't go. In all honesty, I talk about like the Journey to Hell Freak Nights as if I would go. Like I would have gone to this one, finding out that it wasn't that scary, and like ages 10 and up were allowed in. But I don't really like the scare events. Like I went literally, I went in October, just before like the half term in October, where like it gets really busy at Alton Towers. It's still a peak day because it was like the Halloween event there. And I went into X Sector, and the X Sector prisoner who gets shown around by like guards, and they're a prisoner with like a mask on and whatnot. And I was stood with my friends talking to them, and I turn around, and they're there in that formation and looking at me, and the prisoner's really creepy. So we move back and we laugh and go, ha ha ha, how scary. And then they're pushing forward, so like my friends run to the bin, and me being like the stupidest person ever runs up the hill past Oblivion, and they're at the bin. And I'm like, oh, look, my friends are coming with me. And by the way, during this, I have my friend's phone in my hand. So my friend is obviously terrified that I'm going to drop it as I'm running. And I turn around as I'm running, thinking my friend's there. I realise they're not there. I can't see where they are. And the guards just let go of the prisoner, and he starts running after me. Never been more scared in my life. I was shouting in the middle of X Sector, and no one turned around. And he was catching up to me pretty fast. I'm quite a fast runner, and this guy was fast. And no one turned around to see why I was screaming. So I was terrified, and I know that no one chases you at the Journey to Hell Freak Nights at Pleasure Beach. But I don't know. I feel like because I'm not a scare event person, I'm fine with it being after park hours. And the thing is, this Journey to Hell Freak Nights couldn't have been during park hours. Like at all. And that's because of the fact that it just like it was purely because of Legend of the Cursed River Caves, really. Like obviously the other rides, they couldn't have had that because people wouldn't be able to go on the rides with it. I don't think it needs a story. They could just have separate mazes and maybe have a few people walking around but not scaring people, and like have optional mazes rather than a full like storyline. But I just feel like I like the direction they were going in this year. In all honesty, with the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, like ghost train thing, that was such a promising idea. I was so excited for that one as well, thinking, oh yeah, there's gonna be scare actors in there. No scare actors at all. Just a few like cardboard cutouts outside. They were nicely painted, like the wooden skulls outside. But Legend of the Cursed River Caves must have been great. Oh yeah, thank you. I'll see if I can post this onto YouTube after. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day as well. But yeah, I guess that's really it. I've talked about Journey to Hell Freak Nights enough. I'll just finish up by saying about advert. About the Legend of the Cursed River Caves for anyone who's still here. Yeah, really outstanding idea. I don't know if it turned out great. I never heard anything about it. But the doing river caves in the dark for me really fascinates me. And like the thing is, I was lucky enough to get on Jewel Alton Towers, and the ride broke down and all the lights went off, and that was really cool to me because we're in the spider bit, which people probably hate, and if obviously they don't like spiders, and you could just see them like swinging and things, and it was really cool in my opinion. But yeah, really, great idea. I don't know how it turned out at all. Not heard a thing about it. People always said that the hell tunnels from this year's Journey to Hell Freak Nights was the best thing, as it was in the 2019 one. So I'm assuming that will be coming back again with more advancements in it for this year if they do it, because they most likely will. But yeah, that's really it. I have no idea how to end this stream. This is gonna be a travesty as I try to end it. What do I do? I? Oh wait, hold up. I've actually had views on this stream. Do I just like end it here? Okay. Thank you for being with me for this video. You know, it's been really fun to stream for the first time. And yeah, thank you for watching, and that's really it for this stream. I'll see if I can upload this to YouTube and just edit it so then the beginning of it is cut off. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you're just talking, bye bye.